Podcast disclaimer. Still Talking Murder contains graphic and explicit content. This podcast is not intended for all audiences, and you may find the content disturbing. We will be talking about murders, crimes, and violence. So if you are sensitive to any of these topics, you may want to skip this episode or possibly the entire podcast.
The party's starting now. We're all going to get together down in the living room.
You're in danger. We all are.
And is the verdict guilty of murder? I wonder how it'll end.
Hi, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Talking Murder with My Mother podcast. I'm your host, Sonia, and along with me is my co-host, Mother. Hello, Mother.
Hello, Sonia.
So, today we are going to be talking about a case that I found quite a long time ago. It is the Gloria Utter case, and I don't know, I just find it fascinating. It involves children, so if you are one of those people, then not that there's too many details or anything, but I definitely suggest that if you don't like stories with children, that you go ahead and stop listening now. Okay, Mom, here we go. August 4th, 1930, the Greeley Daily Tribune. The article states, Denver child kills playmate in quarrel. A childish quarrel led to the fatal shooting here today of 6-year-old Rose May Etheridge. The fatal shot was fired, authorities said, by Gloria Utter, 5. The bullet struck the Etheridge girl in the back and came out through the right breast. The girls were two companions, and they were playing when Gloria and Rose May became involved in a quarrel. The Utter girl went to the garage at the rear of her home and returned with a .22 caliber rifle. She's 5. The other 3 started to run, as the Utter girl fired once. Both the newspaper articles are a little messed up back from 1930. Both parents of the dead girl are out of the city. Her mother is said to be in Cheyenne. The girl has been living with her grandmother. So we got a 5-year-old shooting a 6-year-old.
And how does a child like that able to shoot a rifle?
Because we're in Colorado in 1930.
No, it's not a question of having the rifle. It's
how does she even pick it up at 5 years old? That's a really good question.
It's like, I don't think I can lift a rifle properly. And I'm grown up.
Yeah. I don't know.
Is it possible that it fell and it...
Oh, no, it did not fall.
Fired?
No, it didn't fall.
Okay.
So, August 4th, 1930, in the Fort Collins, Coloradoan, we have an article that says, Child kills playmate who stole her doll. The quote-unquote age of discretion as fixed under Colorado statutes will prevent the arrest or prosecution of Gloria Utter, aged 3. 3, they're saying now.
Well, that sounds almost impossible.
Who yesterday shot to death her 6-year-old playmate Rose May Etheridge in an argument over a rag doll. Authorities said the infant assassin, not knowing the meaning of death, had no grasp of the abstractions of right or wrong, and did not realize the enormity or criminality of her act. I mean, someone between the age of 3 and 6, let's say, is not really going to understand that. After threatening her playmate with death, Gloria went to the garage of her home, obtained a small caliber rifle, and fired at Rose May's back as the latter was leaving the backyard of a neighbor's home where the children had been playing. The bullet entered the left shoulder blade and took a diagonal course, passing through the heart and emerging through the right breast.
I don't see a 5-year-old, but I definitely do not see a 3-year-old.
Well, I happen to have all of the ancestry, so we're going to get to the bottom of that. Quote unquote, Rose stole my rag doll and I shot her, was the only comment relatives and authorities could get from the baby slayer, who fled crying to her home when police appeared. Martha and Margaret Henry, 7-year-old twins, in whose yard in Logantown, a village near Denver, the shooting occurred, told officers that Gloria balanced the rifle on a fence, took deliberate aim, and fired. That's coming from Martha and Margaret Henry, 7-year-old twins.
Well, thank goodness. When somebody stole my famous, I was about I guess I was about 2.5. And I loved this red and white purse. Thank goodness the only thing I would do was bite people when they took my purse.
And not shoot people? Yeah.
And not shoot people.
Thank God.
I would just bite them.
So,
I was a biter.
yeah, she cannot be punished.
Wow.
The Fort Collins, Colorado win from August 5th, 1930 states that society is powerless either to punish or aid 5-year-old Gloria Utter, who shot and killed her playmate Rose May Etheridge, 6, on a childish impulse at Logantown on Sunday. This was the gist of an announcement yesterday by Joel E. Stone, District Attorney, following an investigation of the shooting by Earl J. Howard, Deputy District Attorney at Littleton, and Sheriff John M. Hayes. The girl immediately after the shooting was reported to have declared she shot Rose May because she took my ragdoll. Yesterday, however, she was unable to answer detailed questions of investigators who sought to ascertain exactly what had taken place. So that is the 5th of August. And then the 7th of August from the Oakland Tribune, it states, baby ragdoll slayer and victim. Rose May Etheridge, 6-year-old Denver child, was shot and killed by her 5-year-old playmate Gloria Utter. Denver authorities are equally puzzled with psychologists over the future of the baby slayer, who cannot be arrested or prosecuted because of the age of discretion in Colorado. The age is 10 years for being able to prosecute. The child's future is worrying social welfare workers. And it says, psychologists and police alike are puzzled over what to do with the 5-year-old quote-unquote murderer. Under the Colorado law, the age of discretion is 10, so nothing can be done by county authorities. But the future of the child is worrying alienists, psychologists, and social workers alike. The child's parents separated when she was 4 months old, and for some time Gloria has been cared for here while her mother was employed in Cheyenne, Wyoming. The crime, quote-unquote, had all the circumstances of an adult case. The 2 children quarreled over a rag doll, and Gloria went away, obtained the rifle, and came back and shot her playmate dead. Now,
This is not even a case for the 30s. I mean, what would you do with a 5-year-old that did that today? I mean, they have no concept. I mean, the words that they utter, well, I'll kill you. There is no concept of death at the age of 5. I mean, you can't, even when they were saying that it was at the age of 10, I don't think the concept is still viable in somebody who's 10 to say they're no longer here, barring that you have, like, I guess, a grandparent or a family member or even a pet that has passed. But even that is hard to put into some kind of concept that you would understand at those ages. So at 5, what are you going to do with a 5-year-old? I mean, it makes...
I don't know what you can do with a 5-year-old. However, I can tell you this. I'm just going to turn the laptop real quick so you can see what these kids look like, because I do have pictures of them. And I will, of course, if I have any pictures or, anything having to do with ancestry or anything, I will put that online when I post the episodes. That is Gloria, Mom.
She looks like she's 3. She doesn't even look like she's 5.
Yeah, she's tiny. And then we'll scroll down a little bit because there are some more photos over here. That is Rose May. That's the little girl that she killed.
What a honey bunch.
She's so cute. I mean, not that Gloria is not cute, but she looks so adorable. She looks like a little doll. There they are. That's Gloria. And that's Rose May. And then there's another picture of Gloria with her rag doll.
Well, it's like me and my red and white purse.
Yeah, and then there's another picture of Rose May. And
It's the same picture.
it's the same photo, just both of them together. And there's her.
I mean, I would understand her not wanting to give up her doll. I mean,
Now, see here in this picture it says that she's 3, but in other pictures at the top it says that she's 5, right? So this is a 1930 press photo. And if you go here, it actually says the back of the photo, what's written. Mm-hmm. And on the back of the press photo, it says, 132713. 3-year-old child kills playmate during quarrel. Pictured above is little Gloria Utter, child slayer, who shot and killed her playmate, Rose May Etheridge, 6-year-old daughter of Mrs. Beulah Etheridge, in a quarrel over a rag doll at Logantown, Colorado. Gloria, her parents say, is 3 years old, but neighbors believe she will be 5 her next birthday. She is the daughter of Mr. and Mrs. Rivas R. Utter of Logantown.
There would be no way. I'm already skeptical about the 5, but I mean 3. You could be a big child at 3, but I don't. She must have been 5.
Okay,
there's no way in.
It says Mr. and Mrs. Rivas, right? All right. So now to your point, let's see how old she really is. In the 1930 census, I find Gloria Utter stating that her birth year is approximately 1925, which means that in 1930 she would have been 5 or about 5. And it says that they were living in Arapahoe, Colorado, and I know it's her because it says her father is Rivas Utter and her mother is Jenny Utter. And then they have listed in the same census for 1930, for the year that this would have happened, we have a Virginia Utter, a Robert Utter, a Gloria Utter, a Flora Utter, and a David Utter, ranging from 17 to 1 years old, with Gloria being in the middle at 5, okay? That is the 1930s census. The 40s census says that she's 15 years old now. She's living in Idaho, and it says, same. Her father, obviously her 17-year-old sister, has apparently gotten married or something. She's no longer in the census, but all of her other siblings are, okay? I find her, Gloria Colleen Utter, born 1925 in Arapahoe, Colorado. She died December 16th. She died January 16th, 2011. It says her father is Revell Emerson Utter. I can actually show you a picture of her father. And this is her father.
Ooh, what a handsome devil.
That is her father. And then I believe I have her mother as well. Yes, I do. No, that's Suzanne. Her mother is Jenny. I don't know. Why is it saying her mother is... Oh, here we go. Jenny. This is her mother.
Ooh, Lord.
She's a... No offense to her. I mean, she's passed away, but she's a homely... I would call her a homely woman.
Actually, the little, her daughter looks like her.
Her daughter does look like her.
Yep.
So these are her parents. Here's a whole bunch of her siblings. Okay? So you can also see some of her siblings if you'd wanted to. And then here she is. Doesn't she look just like an older version of herself in the face? Here, I'll show you.
Yes. No.
It's crazy, right?
Yeah, it's uncanny. I mean, again, I remember some things when I was 5. I wonder how much of anything she remembered.
I don't know, to be honest.
I have limited memory of some of the things between the ages of 2 and 5.
I don't know how much she would remember. I don't know what, she could have blocked it out for all we know. But this is her. She did get married. She got married to a gentleman named, if I'm not mistaken, I don't want to pronounce it wrong. Hold on. Because she did get married to, I believe it's Raymond Bariatua. She ended up marrying this gentleman right here.
Oh, another dapper with a hat.
She married him, and apparently she stayed married to him. He died a year after she did, in 2012. Now, the crazy part about the ending of this story doesn't really have to do with Gloria, to be honest. I'm going to give credit, obviously, where credit is due. So if you go to, there is a website called unknownmisandry.blogspot.com. And it has a lot of, true crime, murder things in there. I do love this website. Again, unknownmisandry.blogspot.com. I will, put a link to it. They have an article about her. And I ended up finding out something when I pulled this that I didn't know. So, skipping over everything that we already know, it says there's an article from August 19th. I'm sorry, I do not have the name of the paper. But it says, the aid of Denver psychiatrists will probably be enlisted to straighten out the tangled sense of right and wrong of Gloria Utter, Colorado's 5-year-old slayer. The tiny miss created a profound social problem in Colorado recently when she shot and killed her 6-year-old playmate, Rose May Etheridge, at Logantown, a suburb of Denver. It says, the confession that the child gave Logantown officials when they questioned her concerning her act, which left her as unmoved as the most seasoned Chicago gunman when she said that she shot her because she took the doll. Joe E. Stone, district attorney of the Logantown district, refused to take any steps to punish the child with the exception of urging her parents to place her in the state psychopathic hospital, where she might be observed and perhaps have some fundamental sense of social obligation established in her mind. Officials are of the belief that, with the brand of Cain upon her brow, her punishment in later years will be greater than any which the law might inflict. Stone is powerless to have the girl placed in the psychopathic hospital against her parents' wishes, as such an action would necessitate a court declaring her so incorrigible that she would be a state dependent. Gloria found the .22 caliber rifle with which she murdered her playmate in her father's garage. As a result, her father, Rivas Utter, has been the target for a volley of criticism of leaving unloaded firearms within the reach of such a young child, which... surprise, surprise, everybody who's listening. We still haven't fucking figured that out in America. People still leaving their loaded firearms and where kids can reach them. And if you think that kids are dumb, they get into fucking everything, okay? We already know this. They hear everything. They're sponges. If you think they're not looking at what you're doing, they know. They know, and even if you locked up a case, believe me, there are some kids who are going to find a way to open up these gun cases. For God's sake, don't leave your shit loaded. Placing any dangerous weapon available for possession by a child of immature years borders on criminal negligence, according to Stone, who declares also that blame lies not so much with the child as with the person or persons who made the crime possible. Thus far, the girl's parents have declared that the gun was not loaded when it was placed in the garage where Gloria found it when she carried out her threat. I don't believe that for shit. If she's 5 years old,
she wasn't going to load the gun.
Right. I find that very unbelievable. Now, could she have watched her father load the gun 150 times? Maybe. But for her to load it and get back that fast and aim it on the fence and shoot it, I don't believe that for shit.
I think that's it's almost a timely story, because obviously at her age and what she did, I mean, this was 1930. I don't think they would have known what to do with her. This day and age, parents, if you're not listening, absolutely do not load your guns. Do not give your children a gun, because now it's timely in the sense that parents are now going to be made responsible for their children's actions when they pick up a gun.
Which technically you should be. Now, the last part of this particular little article says, police officials have been unable to gain much information from Gloria. Yeah, she's 5. Save that she deemed it just to take the law into her own hands and settle accounts for the stolen rag doll, which is what a child would think. That's how they think. It's her doll. Somebody took it. She wants it. She's going to get it. That's it. Okay, fine. Efforts to clear up the matter by questioning Gloria have succeeded in nothing more than making her tale a jumbled array of inconsistent facts. 'Cause she's 5. The murder of the Etheridge girl was a cue for a heated debate among Colorado psychiatrists as to just what motive prompted the crime. A large number are of the belief that the girl was merely following a primitive instinct that is common to all of us in early life, while others are of the opinion that moving pictures of shooting arrays, bited honor, etc., furnish the environment necessary to account satisfactorily for such an act of violence. We are in 2024. Many studies have been done. We all know that playing the violent video games and whatnot, that is not necessarily going to turn you into a murderer. in certain cases, can it affect certain people? Yes, I suppose that's like anything, there's exceptions to the rule. But I have watched every freaking horror movie known to man. That's not making me a serial killer or turning me into Michael Myers. Mom, you've watched every true crime show that passes through for decades. You have not decided to become the perfect murderer and start killing off whoever, right? So, again, that's silly. That's...
No. To me, actually...
Again, it's 1930 and psychiatrists and alienists are trying to find anything and everything. It was so new, they didn't know. I get it.
No, to me, watching, like I've said it many times to you, my watching some of these crime shows, for me, it's not the actual crime itself. I'm not talking about a 5-year-old. I'm talking about
right.
Adults,
standard
adults, or older, older people. To me, it's more the question sometimes of why somebody gets this into their brain. But I mean, when you think about a 5-year-old, it's going to be about what's in their realm. It's, my doll or my toy or my,
Right, what they say in the article, the primitive instinct that is common to all of us in early life, while others, and then it keeps going, but that's really what it is. Now, this for me is so sad. This is the last part of the story, and I just, it makes me just, my heart break. Full text, Cheyenne, Wyoming. Again, it doesn't, I do have the newspaper. The Greeley Daily Tribune, Colorado, July 16th, 1931. So this is a year later, and it says, relatives from Denver today have claimed the body of Mrs. Beulah Etheridge, formerly of Logantown, Colorado, who killed herself here last night after a year's despondency and mourning for her 6-year-old daughter, Rose May, who was shot and killed by a playmate a year ago. The body was to be taken to Denver for burial because authorities said there was no doubt but what death was by suicide. An inquest was considered unnecessary. Mrs. Etheridge had run screaming from her room at a boarding house and cried out that she had taken poison. In the room was found a clipping from a Denver newspaper from August 4th of last year telling of the tragic death of her daughter. Apparently, Mrs. Etheridge had been reading the clippings a short time before she took the poison, and she died before reaching the hospital. Rose May was shot by Gloria Utter, 5, at Logantown. The newspaper clipping said the shooting, the story said, occurred over a climax to a quarrel over a doll. So,
ergo, the sadness of life. I have not lost a child, but just the mere thought of it is, I really can't think about it. It's just too painful to even think about. So I can only imagine what this poor woman, if she had died because she was sick or something to that effect. I mean, that's also a sadness in and of itself, but a little different than having your child killed by another child over a doll. And again, these 5-6-year-olds, they have no concept of that. But it's just, it's tragic. It's tragic that her mother had to take her life and ended that way. But
and again, we don't know anything about what happened to Gloria. It seems like she got married and she didn't do anything else crazy in her life.
And again, what concept would she have at 5? There would be no concept
I
of
don't.
any of this if she even remembered it later on, because it's very possible.
Right.
She did
Yeah.
not,
No.
she
Absolutely
did not.
zero memory. Right. And people had to remind her or tell her, what had happened.
And I guess-
or she saw articles of herself in the newspaper. Right.
And again, isn't that what they were saying, that whatever punishment as a 5-year-old, which they wouldn't be able to punish her, she might have had the rest of her life seeing the articles, finding out that this child's mother also committed suicide. So that in and of itself could have been its own punishment.
It's just sad any way you look at it, because these kids didn't have a fucking clue at their age what was happening, and then it destroyed
two families,
and however many other people cared about them. It really sucks. So that is the story of Gloria Utter, the baby slayer, as they called her. And as always, we want to thank you for joining us for the story. And I will not forget to promote us. So please rate and review us if you can on all of the platforms that you guys listen to. We don't care what you put in there. They don't really care, apparently, as we've understood, as long as you just rate and review. If you guys want to get a hold of us, which would be great, you can email us at talkingmurderwithmymother@gmail.com. Our Twitter handle is @murdertalking. Instagram is Talking Murder with My Mother. Facebook, just look for Talking Murder with My Mother podcast. And if you guys are, in any type of mental crisis, if you're suffering from any type of depression, if you need to talk to somebody, you are absolutely not alone. Please, if you're looking for any kind of resources, my friend Lou runs a website. It's depression_youarenotalone.com. The Twitter handle is depression_YRNA. Facebook is also depression_YRNA. Please do not forget about your mental wellness. It is super important. If you need to reach out, please talk to somebody. There are plenty of websites, phone calls you can make. You do not have to do this alone. And as always, please, for the love of God, guys, don't let strangers turn your bones into wind chimes. Have a great week, guys. Bye.
Bye.